Good evening, everyone, and welcome to episode number 48 of Just Another G.I. Joe show. I'm a little solo today. Fred is at a birthday party. I can't believe Chuck E. Cheese is still letting him in to play around. Rick can't make it, and we were hoping to get Bobby on, and he wasn't for sure. But that's okay. It's not going to stop me from doing the show. But what I do have on with us today is our special guest. The whole show is going to be based around a child's perspective, the younger generation, way younger than us, older men who collect G.I. Joe, have played with G.I. Joe in years past, to where, we always say, hey, G.I. Joe's dead, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes I believe that, sometimes I don't. After I met this young man at JoeCon, I really don't believe that the Joes are dead. It's more the point of being passed on to a different generation. Again, we all know my name's Mike. My guest is Adam, his brother David, and their father Jeff. But before we go, I want to be able to cover everything legally wise. Is that both of these children are under the age of 18, and I do want to make sure that Jeff can let us know that he verbally gives us permission to interview his children on this show.
Yes, thank you for having us. We look forward to being your guest, and you have my permission to discuss G.I. Joe with both my boys.
Well, good. All right, like I said, I met both these kids. I remember talking to Adam quite a bit when we were at JoeCon, and your brother David was there as well, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember seeing you a couple of times. So now, Adam, tell us about yourself. How long you've been collecting G.I. Joe? What do you collect? Why do you like it so much?
So, I've been collecting G.I. Joe since 2008. My brother kind of kicked it off. I prefer the modern and collector's club figures, versus as my brother prefers the O-ring and vintage figures.
And how many figures do you have right now? I mean, do you have a big collection?
We've never counted them. We don't know, but it is a large. Yeah, it's many. It's hundreds, hundreds of figures, and quite a few vehicles too.
Now, I bet you the vehicles take up a lot of real estate, don't they?
You're right.
They take up almost half our whole basement.
And Adam, now you've gone to a few JoeCons, just not this last one. What years did you go?
I went to the 2008, the 2008 one, the 2014 one, 2016, and 2018.
And what is it about G.I. Joe? I mean, what do you like so much about G.I. Joe that, knowing that it's an older brand and that it started way back when your father was really a youngster, what is it about it compared to today's toys that you like about it?
Well, what originally drew my eye before I knew the story behind it or the backstory was the articulation, the colors, and the figures themselves, how good they were compared to Core and other toys I was playing with at the time, and my brother was.
Now, you're talking about the modern figures, right? Not the O-ring.
The 25th anniversary. Now I look back at it, and it doesn't look as good. It's not the same compared to Collector's Club and 50th anniversary and Pursuit of Cobra.
Okay. Now, David, you collect O-ring, is that right?
Well, we collect both, but that's the one I like the most. Like, I like O-ring up better than modern. I mean, I know modern looks better, but I just think it's kind of, I guess, cooler.
Because they're vintage and older?
Yeah.
And what's your favorite figures? I mean, what's your favorite O-ring figures?
Well, some of the ones I like playing with, I used to play a lot was with the ones that was like classified, it was called, the one where it was Snake Eyes when he was in Vietnam. I like that one like a lot. And also I like the October Guard ones, like Big Bear is one of the ones I like. And also mainly the main characters like Flint, Duke, and the versions. Well, usually just the ones from the 80s, like the vintage ones that I try to get at the conventions or our times, like Flint, Roebuck, and a few others. And favorite Cobra figures would probably be Storm Shadow, and Storm Shadow I like using the modern versions of from the I think one of the movies, the Resolution or Resolute, and I like using those like
Retaliation.
Or the Iron Grenadiers are some of my favorite as well from the convention.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite ones.
October
too.
Guard, the October Guard
the
convention.
O-ring ones.
Oh, the O-ring ones.
From the 2005 convention. Those are some of my favorite figures as well, like October Guard.
Okay.
I mean Iron Grenadiers.
Okay. Now, as far as you have modern and O-ring. Let's talk about your convention sets. How many convention sets do you guys have? Do you have just the ones you've gone to, or have you picked up ones on the side, or?
We picked up ones on the side. We own darn near all of them except for the 2002 G.I. Joe versus Crimson Strike team. Yeah,
we own a few figures from that.
But we own a few figures from that.
And which one's your favorite set between the two of y'all? Which con set do you like, Adam? Which set do you like, David?
My favorite set, that's a hard one. I'm stuck between the 2010 Vacation in the Shadows or 2015 Springfield Island. Even though I do really like 2017's Battle Force 2000 set.
Okay.
And my favorites would probably have been the 2005 General like Mayhem Mars Invade one, and also the 2006 one where it has Major Blood and Coil versus Sergeant Slaughter and his Renegades. Those are my two favorites.
Well, as everyone knows, that my favorite is 2015. So, all Tiger Force, baby.
That was great.
It was, wasn't it? It's such a great set. I mean, you just could not go wrong.
But the one thing we didn't get was a Tiger Force Histink. I know they were at the convention, but we made our own.
We needed a Tiger tank.
Oh, wow. I didn't know y'all had that one. Oh, keep that there for a second. Wow, that's nice. Yeah, the only, I guess the only vehicles I have was offered like that last year, it's last year, 2018. I was able to get one of those Python tanks that they had customized from Roman's Collectibles. I picked one up from there. I think he only had 10 or 12, I guess. I can't remember.
Oh, Mike, do you remember the earlier Tiger Force set? Or the club did? It was
they
had a Cobra Moray in orange.
Where
remember
was our
that?
stripes?
Oh, was it?
Yeah, it was a Tiger Force Cobra Moray, but it was all in orange.
Didn't know.
But it had Tiger Force markings. And
it didn't have stripes.
We got it for the boys one year to play with. We didn't go to that convention, but I mean, we eventually got one for the collection because it was Tiger Force, and that was our favorite sub-team. But they wouldn't really play with it much. And I asked them why. I said, the Moray is one of the nicest vehicles. You guys like the Moray normally. And they couldn't play with it because of the color aesthetics. They didn't like the colors and the lack of stripes.
Huh.
So you aren't going to believe what we did to ours.
Could you customize it? Or back it up just a little bit for me. Okay, yeah, that looks really good. Wow.
So that's the club's orange version. We kept the interior orange.
Okay. Okay.
But we put stripes on it so they would play with it. I mean, if that's what it took. Some people say, oh my gosh, you can't do that to a convention exclusive. But I say, yeah, sure you can. It's just a toy, and if it don't get played with, then it was never a toy. It was just a lump of plastic.
Right. And that's another question I wanted to ask. Since both you guys were really young, do y'all play with your convention exclusive sets, or do you just keep them put away, displayed, and just play with the retail stuff?
I play with them, and my brother plays with them.
Yeah. How many have you lost any of the parts yet?
No, we actually have a system that keeps us from losing those parts. We put them in those little Ziploc sandwich bags, so they still have collectability. We mark them with all their accessories, so we don't lose any while we play.
Oh wow!
So we tried putting them on a shelf, but all that happened is they kept on falling over, even with figure stand if you bumped it. So we eventually found the system of putting them in Ziploc sandwich bags. And this is the Tiger Force Roblox figure. Probably one of the best modern Tiger Force figures.
Look at that. That's cool. Did so you go and you write down everything that's included with it and put it on the bag as well, so you know exactly what you. It's very interesting how someone at 13 just taught this 40-year-old something, because I lose my stuff all the time. There's still a bag of accessories for a bunch of figures I can't find in this room.
You want to read off the contents of the bag?
Do what?
So we also we don't just put like gray machine gun or something like that. We put the real world equivalents. So
okay.
like we put yellow backed striped helmet, ACH advanced combat helmet, green silver web gear belt and harness, gray H&K USP match pistol with 45 ACP 12 rounds, gray tactical combat fighter knife, gray Browning M2HB Maw Deuce 50 caliber heavy machine gun, gray M3 tipped weapon mount, maybe on M2 tripod, and a silver green 50 caliber ammo belt. Also, we put notes like a modern update to the Tiger Force 1988 Roblox version 3, or Black Dual Peg Tiger Force Roblox, G.I. Joe figure stand, stuff like that. Along with marking them as club or retail.
See, the whole point was whenever we get a G.I. Joe, it doesn't stay on card or in package. It comes out of the package right away, so the kids play with it. If they don't play with it or get enjoyment out of it, then the toy was a failure. The investment. So we want them to develop memories with each item, no matter how exclusive or rare it is. But also, we actually cut the file cards off the card backs. We decorate maybe additional notes or artwork on our file cards. And then we make a Ziploc bag so they don't lose the items. They can take them out, play with them. When they're done, we just ask them to put the items back in the bag with the figure. And they have the entire collection like that. So their entire collection's loose, played with, and they actually know what the items are. And if there's a particular item and they don't know what the real world like name is for it or something like that, I teach them about it. And I'll pull up maybe a YouTube video so they can hear what the weapon sounds like and watch it shoot. So they actually understand all the little components or accessories of this G.I. Joe stuff.
I gotcha. And so that was Roblox was what, Figure Subscription Service 6? Is that right? So did y'all get FS 7 and 8?
Yes.
So on FSS 8, what did you think of Payload?
Payload?
Yes.
I like the figure.
Were you okay with all the accessories, and were your arms like fall right off, or?
I don't really remember. I haven't got much play out of it since we got it.
Right.
But usually if a figure has a problem or defect, like on everyone's,
you're right.
My dad modifies it so it works better.
Gotcha. That's good.
So yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know. So people know I do little stupid reviews. I review some of my figures, and that was one of the ones I did. And in the review, it shows that the arms, the mechanical things go over his arms, would not stay together. Now, some people's have stayed together just fine. Mine would not stay on whatsoever. I ended up having to, because I want to keep majority of my figures. I mean, there's sometimes I'll have to sell them for certain reasons, but I ended up gluing those parts together just so I can display them in my case. The case over here behind me is where I keep all my Joes. So, but yeah, I ended up having to glue mine. But now, as far as FS8, what is y'all's prediction on the 13th figure when it comes in. What do y'all think it's going to be?
Bonsai.
And you looking forward to that, or are you a Ninja collector, or?
I like Ninja Force. I'm not sure about my brother.
I like Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes and the Red Ninjas, but I think they added too many ninjas after a while, and I don't like Bonsai's pink neon color. Like,
Yeah.
I don't like a pink ninja. I mean,
A pink ninja for a man is what the problem is, right?
Yeah.
Now, what I'm excited for is Bushido, which
Right.
Bobby Valladolid looks like he did a really good job on it.
And he also did the ninja in the last FSS collection. It was who was it? No, they ended up gluing his helmet on. Budo. Yeah, I know Bobby was not very happy about that head being glued on.
But all in all, it was a nice figure.
I asked Adam,
Right.
I said, what are the odds that Bushido will have his helmet glued onto his head? Same factory.
Yeah, I don't know if this is the same factory as what a lot of people use. I know there are a lot of delays with other companies that are doing 3 3/4 figures, such as J.E. Russell with his Cowboys. There's been a lot of delays over there. Bill Murray with the Larry Hama figure at Warrior Animals of the Kingdom.
Animals of the Kingdom, yeah.
Yeah, they're all using the same factory, and this one factory seems to be having a lot of issues in getting their stuff together. Now, do y'all just strictly do G.I. Joe, or do you do any Kickstarters or other stuff?
We do Marauder. We're gonna get the Larry Hama figure.
Okay, you have that one on Kickstarter too?
Yep. And also we do Vitruvian Hacks.
Yeah, the night.
The little night figures that Boss Fight is doing.
The fantasy line, not the Greek line, but the fantasy line of figures.
Fantasy line. Did you all do any of the Animal Warriors?
Nah.
No.
You didn't? I actually got one of those, and the only reason I got him is because he worked in perfectly as the mascot to Tiger Force, because it was a tiger, a grown tiger. So I really liked it, so I got that one. I might actually go back and get those again, because those are some really good figures.
They look like furries to us.
They are a bunch of animals, but I mean, they're really good figures. It's just whether you have a space form in collection.
I don't know why, but every time I look at them, I think Thundercats.
Well, he knows some stuff there. If he knows Thundercats, man, and Thundercats was my thing as a child. How you know about Thundercats?
Well, they redid it. Remember, kind of like Voltron.
Oh,
they reanimated it again.
We saw it, the animated series, and then David and me have watched a few of the original series. We don't own any toys of it, but we've watched a few episodes of the original series on that. Wait, no, like on YouTube, I think.
The Thundercats, they did a whole new toy line. It's just I've noticed. No, they started doing all these older shows from when I was a child. Mm-hmm. Apparently, the Voltron did pretty good. I didn't care for it, but I mean, they're just like She-Ra. They're doing a new She-Ra. I think eventually they're going to do a He-Man or something along the lines. And I'm just not really. I'm the kind of person, I guess, in my old age, don't mess with it. It's like nowadays they're rebooting all these movies that have been done already. I don't. It's just Hollywood and other companies have run out of ideas, in my opinion. So they're like, hey, this one made $1 billion. Let's remake it, see if we can make another $1 billion, or basically destroy the effect it had on it as an original, is the way I kind of see it.
Like the Ghostbusters movie.
Yeah, let's don't get started with that. You'll get
that was so bad. It was sickening.
It was, I watched it. It had its good moments in it to a degree, but it's like, now they've announced that there will be a Ghostbusters 3. They've put out a trailer, a teaser trailer for it. So I think, and they're supposedly.
It didn't show us anything but just the logo.
Well, no, they showed the car in the barn.
They showed the logo on the back of the car.
Yeah, I mean, that's fine, because you're showing us the original Ecto one, which is a great thing to see. So, speaking of redoing, what are your thoughts on what they're going to do with G.I. Joe, the movie,
the Snake Eyes movie?
So that
I think it's gonna probably be like a just I guess a martial arts movie that isn't G.I. Joe.
No, when they announced it, I kept on thinking it's just sounded like a Street Fighter live action movie. It's just gonna be like the Street Fighter 2, the movie.
And I'm hoping they don't make Snake Eyes a girl. And
No, they said that Snake Eyes is gonna be a Peruvian fighter. So they said that he's gonna have a love interest. So he's not gonna be a girl if he has a female love interest.
Well, these are rumors, so remember that.
Yeah.
Oh
Just
yeah,
'cause
everything.
these
These are all
Rumors are not
rumors.
Now, what would you think? Now we already know if there's a good movie, they have to have a toy line in place.
I have a
What-
feeling it's not gonna be action figures. I think it's gonna be like role play items.
maybe
like-
they'll give us Storm Shadow and Snake Eyes fidget spinners or something.
No, I don't
Oh,
think
no.
that.
I disagree.
No,
I disagree with what you just said, Mike.
What's
Show
that?
me. Well, Gem the movie came out. Show me the toy line.
we
Battleship
never
the
got a toy
movie
line.
came out. Show me the toy
there actually
line.
was a toy line for Battleship the movie. They made a Battleship board game, but it had like alien ships on one side and regular
Right,
battleships.
but see, I consider that merchandising, not an entire
Yeah.
toy line.
Well, I
That's
think there's gonna be.
merchandising for a movie.
Well, I believe that it's gonna be merchandising, like with role play masks, like Snake Eyes role play masks.
Right.
Kind
What
of
would
like
you-
what they did for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, how they just gave you Miles Morales role-play stuff instead of really action figures. In this case, I think they're just going to do that. Like,
Did they
Spider-Man,
not give us any kind of action figures for that?
they did, but they were 5 points of articulation, and they were really, like, gimmicky and giant web launchers and stuff.
Do you think that a 6-inch line would help out with that movie?
No. It wouldn't be compatible with the G.I. Joe figures we already have now. And if it's not compatible, there's almost no point in collecting it.
So there would be no need to put a 6-inch line with a 3 3/4 line at all.
Unless you wanted giants. You could have that.
Justin said Creo did Battleship, so I guess there were Creo.
Which was another company licensing to do something, but it wasn't really Hasbro doing it then, because Creo was somebody licensing that, right?
Yeah, it was.
Well, then couldn't they try giving the license to someone who could really use it then?
Maybe
Like,
Funko Pops will do something with the Snake Eyes movie.
You must know about my Funko collection.
Yup.
Oh yeah, no, I'm actually I'm not dwindling. Well, I am dwindling down, but I'm not collecting as much as I did. Like I got a whole stack of stuff over here. I'm actually going to a pop swap tomorrow in Northern Arkansas to try to sell some. Now I've been collecting on the pop Piz because the value on those are pretty high. Like a chase comes in 1 in every 6. So I ordered 6 just to get that one chase for my own collection. But on one of them, they sent 3 chases and 3 regulars. And that chase alone goes for almost $50. So that was actually a pretty good deal. I was surprised to get that. But yeah, I'm trying to dwindle down on my Funkos a little bit where Transformers is putting some new stuff out, and I want to get that and have room for that stuff. On your excuse me, on your FSS, not FS, but you we talked off air, but y'all's plan is to get some of the Final 12 product and the, I guess, Zartan or Cobra Trooper ladies. Which ones are you all trying or wanting to get later on down the road?
What I really want is Sonic Fighter's Viper.
Viper, not Dodger.
Dodger is meh. I wish we could troop build the Viper. So
Right.
probably we would use. We already talked about it using a second Dodger figure to make a Super Trooper with using the Marauder metallic vest.
Oh, okay.
Another thing is Blizzard, which blends into the yellow snow.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know what the funny thing is because of this factory screw up that with the stands, knowing that they're holding back everything, is that we will technically get the Blizzard, the regular Blizzard, before the Tiger Force Blizzard, where we got the regular Frostbite before the Tiger Force.
Frostbite. Yeah, I remember that.
So I mean, it's kind of ironic how that's actually happened like that.
Yeah, another thing I was excited for, but now that I've seen it, I'm less, is the Lieutenant Falcon figure. It looked okay during the convention when they showed the
The
mock-up,
mock-up, yeah.
but the arm sleeves not being painted, it looks ugly.
See, and I pointed
know
that out
it's
too
supposed to be for
because
the original, because the original didn't have its arm sleeves painted, but
right, exactly right. But doesn't that it does look weird like that with no? You got these plain sleeves, and the rest of the uniform completely has all these apps on it, but the arms do not. It makes. I mean,
he's
that's
wearing
kind
a
of a
sweater
letdown.
vest.
Sweater vest, I like it. Yeah, there's some of the final 12 I'm not really interested in. The only ones I'm really interested was the Slaughter Marauders, which I did get this weekend, Monday. I got them in Monday. And then because of the screw up with the Tiger Force stand and them holding those back, I'm going to wait until those have been shipped out and all that before I even order those. Because anything that's ordered with that particular 2-pack is being put on hold until they ship it all out, which some people have said that they've got notification in sending theirs out. So that's something I found very interesting. So I guess they got the stands in to start shipping those out, which would be good because what I've been saying this whole time is that they're holding their toys hostage.
Those would be the first ones I would want to purchase too, the Slaughters Marauders ones. Just because it really completes that set and makes the convention set so much better.
Exactly right. And what I did on mine was that it's a low light and his one arm will not bend at the elbow. And I put hot water on it, still didn't bend. And someone told me to dunk it in boiling water to get it to bend. So I'm going to have to wait to do that later on. But low light was good. And once I got his vest completely put on correctly, and then barbecue, of course, was perfectly fine. But you're right; it does complete that set. It makes it complete, which is really good. Of course, there's a lot of convention sets that won't be complete because of the end of the club. But it is what it is, you know. As far as speaking of the club, are you upset kind of that they're not doing it no more, or are you kind of like some of us were, you know, we're consumers, we have the right to voice our opinions?
I believe we have the right to voice our opinions.
I think it's kind of sad that they're not doing them anymore about the conventions.
Right, it is.
And I kind of miss them, but I think that I just think it's sad because they did. I think only because of the Hasbro conventions, which was a flop.
And got delayed. Even the second show got delayed. And now the rumor is that Hasbro did come back to Savage and offer a hit back to him again. And from what I heard was that his wife didn't want to do it no more. So he went ahead and just decided. You got to think he's been doing the G.I. Joe Collectors Club for 25 years. So, I mean, you know, a lot of 25 years and putting up with a lot of oversized man children complaining about toys. You know, I guess he kind of got tired of it, which, you know, it's you know, I don't blame the man, you know.
That rumor doesn't really seem believable, does it, though? I mean, why would they let go of Daryl DePriest and others, let go of the G.I. Joe brand manager, but want to strike up a contract with Brian Savage or the club? That doesn't sound believable.
Well, the understanding was that he was approached before JoeCon, before they decided to do all the cuts. That's the rumor I heard. Was sure, that's a different story. But I mean, it is, you know, you kind of makes you thinking, and you know, cutting out Daryl DePriest, Bobby Valid, people who worked on the Joe brand. To my understanding, there's no one on the Joe brand at all.
You're right. I've called Hasbro a few times and checked with them. That's how I was able to find out when Mark Webber was let go, because I called the company and asked them. Because they don't know that you're a G.I. Joe collector when you call them. You know, you can just pass it off like you're a potential investor and you want to do business with Hasbro, and they'll connect you to whoever's in charge of that department.
Wow.
And when they look around in their company and they can't find anyone that knows anything about the subject of G.I. Joe, that tells me right there that there's nobody on the brand.
And then that could make a whole lot of sense to what you all said, is that there is a possibility that the toy line for the Snake Eyes movie would be nothing but Royal. I can't even pronounce it. Dang it.
You're right.
role playing items. You know, a sword, a mask, and that's it. You can have. I mean, that really stink. In a way, you know, it's kind of a letdown to the GI Joe community, in my opinion.
But there'll always be third party stuff like that, like what I'm holding right now, the Performa, the perfect shaker with a Cobra symbol. There'll always be third party items. So like there could be a hat, a T-shirt, something like that. So there'll still be merchandise.
So as at your age and what you've collected, you'd be okay with a third party company pushing out show products or people customizing figures that no one else will make, pretty much.
I'm fine with it.
I don't really like the idea. I think Hasbro should still be making figures, but I'm not even sure if Hasbro's gonna survive a few years or if it's gonna go the way of Toys R Us.
So with what you're saying on not you want Hasbro to make these products, it's kind of like the club, you know, they made the items that Hasbro wouldn't make. So that's the reason, like Transformers, there was a whole buttload of stuff that Hasbro would not make. So the Collectors Club made it or got permission to make it. And so the same thing would fall on this, you know, like let's take, for example, my friend Evan Foster at the Southern Cal Joe show. They did this Python snake armor pilot, which was limited to 57 figures that were customized out of a oh man, I have the worst history of memory. Crimson Guard, and they made the figure to match the con set, but it was actually the pilot who controlled the snake armor. So I mean, that's a kind of cool concept, but then of course there's only 57 figures made. I mean, that's pretty cool to have, though, don't you think?
Mm-hmm. One thing I wish they would do is if Hasbro gave the license, like for a official collectors club, to Marauder John. That would be nice. He already has knowledge in the toy business, and he doesn't let down his customers, and it's really good customer service. Something Brian Savage lacked over the years. Has us.
And not doing too well.
See, I think his customer service reps were good, though. I disagree with you. Like Angie, Karen, they did an outstanding job.
They did good, but Brian Savage himself is what was constantly constantly sticking it to the fans.
Yeah, and bad jobs on the parachute drops a lot of the time.
Yeah, you know, I can stand up and honestly say that Karen and Angie were the backbone of customer service for Fun Publications, and that was on Joe and Transformers side. They knew their stuff. I don't ditch them one bit at all. Now, of course, like you mentioned, the fiasco of the parachute drop and a lot of other stuff was a lot
this is
of.
One thing that I would like to set the record straight. Some fans said that there wasn't kids getting shoved or pushed or knocked down. Some people said there was. There was. I have, as you've said, we're taking a child's perspective on G.I. Joe.
Yeah, tell me all about it, man.
It was bad. I was at the front because I was a child.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So at the very beginning, we rushed. It was a mad rush. Parents were trying to literally picked up their kid and started hightailing it. I saw.
Mm-hmm. So parents were running with their child to get past the children who were by themselves.
Yeah.
So then there was a generator box.
Yes, I remember.
Mm-hmm.
I remember seeing that one.
No, behind there, it was almost like a mosh pit. Behind there, there was an adult pushing kids against the generator box trying to grab figures. It was bad.
Mm-hmm.
I was lucky enough to grab one.
Wasn't even enough, really. I think figures for the kids because of people grabbing them from the roofs, like from the
levels.
Parking building. So there were just like a few scattered there.
There was a lot of corruption going on.
See, and what's really interesting is that I was one of the participants throwing the figures over the wall. And when you're talking about that generator, I remember specifically I started yelling. You know, a bunch of us started yelling from the top parking deck about it. But I remember about 4, 5, or 6 figures landing right around that area. And I could, of course, as far up as I am and as glasses I have on, couldn't make out the person who it was, but I remember watching him sprint and jumping on top of that generator and grabbing every single figure he can get his hands on, which I think is sorry, period. So, I mean, it stinks. I mean, the whole parachute fiasco
It wasn't an adult. It was a teenager.
Still, though, he wasn't a child.
Huh? It was wrong,
He
though.
was.
But they put him to the front as if he was a child. So I've never seen that person. They put him to the front as if it was a child.
Now, was that your first parachute drop to do?
No.
Third.
It was your third. So let me think. 2016 was in Denver.
Actually, it was our fourth.
But
You're right, in Loveland, Colorado.
in Loveland, Colorado, and that was Sky Patrol that year, 2016.
Mhm.
And I also did the parachute drop that year. Matter of fact, I think 15 was in Indy,
Springfield.
and I didn't do
They
that
didn't
one.
have
So
They didn't have a place where they could drop them in Springfield, really.
okay, there we go. So 16 was the first year I dropped it in the Embassy Suites Hotel.
That went
And
down
that-
flawlessly.
That was great.
That's
It was-
exactly what I was fixing to say. That one was
Sadly,
well taken care of.
I
Right.
didn't mentally prepare myself for 2018.
Right.
I expected it to be a lot more like 2016, where the adults were held back.
Right.
But-
They had more volunteers, I think, because
Well,
a friend of mine was down there, and they would tell the adults, you wait. And Savage was there with his microphone. And see, the difference on that year in 18 was that Savage was still on the roof with us when we did the drop, when he should have been down the ground.
Mhm.
You know, people, regardless of whether you like Savage or not, 9 times out of 10, people respected him and they listened to him.
Mhm.
So I think
Yeah.
if he had been down on the ground, I don't think this would have been an issue.
Well, it was
Well, what
pretty
I thought,
bad. Like, there was a person shouting, "You got on the wrong side of the road," when people were trying to get to it because
I think that
there
was
was
Karen
no
Angie.
cars were just driving by,
I forgot.
and people were trying to get on some side of the road where they're not getting hit by a car, and some people got on the wrong side of the road even, and they just told, "Well, you got on the wrong side of the road, so you gotta wait for everyone," and it was pretty bad, like the
Now,
organization of it.
Now I remember during that parachute drop. I remember when they got to the gates. In my opinion, they should have allowed kids in and then shut the gates from adults. That would have worked. They didn't.
Exactly right. I mean,
Instead, they just
if-
let all these adults in. If
it
they would
is-
let
if
kids
it
and
is-
parents in.
if it is supposed to be based for a child's event, then that's what it should have been from the get-go. It should never have been allowed for adults to be in the same area as well, because that just defeats the purpose of it being it's supposed to be for the kids, is what they say. I remember in 2014, the first year I went, the hotel staff was grabbing these figures. I mean, I remember trying to reach for one on the ground, and literally a hotel employee ran over there and scooped it up off the floor. But where a majority of them fell on the upper level, where the staff was at, they wouldn't let adults up there. I think all the years I went to it, they were all handled pretty good, except that last one. The last one was done in very, very poor taste, in my opinion.
Mhm.
But speaking of, you brought yourself a child's perspective again, Timmy. As far as the final 12 and the Zartan and the female troopers, what is your input? What do you think of all the figures? Which ones do you think are the best and the worst of all
Wait
of
for the
those?
final 12?
The final 12, including the Night Stalkers and the Zartan.
Number one on it would probably be Zartan. Because Zartan's my personal favorite of all Cobra characters.
Hmm.
Number two, which is a close number one, would be. Can I count a set? Like set
Sure.
one, set one where they have low light and barbecue. That would be probably number two.
Okay.
Number
And they are a
three,
good set.
because that to me finishes and the convention convention isn't over until we get those. So then the Tiger Force set 5 where we get Psych Out and Tunnel Rat.
Mm-hmm.
And then comes step 4 where we get Hit and Run and Blizzard, Yellow Snow Edition.
That has a pretty horrible color to it.
Probably some of my favorites are of the figures are all the Tiger Force ones I like, but I don't really like foreign versions because I never really liked any time they gave foreign figures because it just seemed weird to me, just having having Shipwreck painted different and then saying he has a dolphin friend or something, I believe they said, and giving him a Portuguese or Spanish name. I just don't like that. I always say that is Shipwreck, and the other one, I forget his Spanish name, the Tiger Force Dust. I think that is Dusty. I think.
Oh, Felino.
Yeah, Felino is Dusty.
Yeah, when it came with the boat in the 15th set.
David, I don't think you understand. Those are foreign figures.
I don't believe it's an American force. It's American. Is not.
But they have Big Ben.
International team.
David, they have Big Ben and Big Bear.
He's an exception.
Just like take for example on you maybe forget it now. Which one was it? Slaughter Marauders. Sergeant Smasher was the international figure.
David.
And you go and you put that with all the American ones. That really makes no sense to me. It should have been Sergeant Slaughter to begin with.
They couldn't do it for legal reasons, though.
Robert
Remus is gonna be at Joe Fest.
How come he can show up at Joe Fest and he can't show up?
Exactly.
Maybe it's because it's unofficial.
Maybe so. I'm really looking forward to that because, me and Fred were invited as guests for Joe Fest, and we're really looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it because I want to meet Sergeant Slaughter. I mean, I got my pop, I got my wrestling belt. I don't got no carded figures. I'm trying to get me a carded Dial-Tone O-ring one for a Garrett to sign. So I mean, and then of course Storm Shadow's voice actor will be there as well. Mm-hmm. He's lined up pretty good lineup, and I hope he makes it past this year because that's a lot of stuff he's doing.
This lineup is actually better than the 2018 JoeCon.
Oh, absolutely. There's not a question about that. He is knocking it out of the park versus what JoeCon did that last year. I mean, your final JoeCon and you don't give us do we even get a voice actor? I thought we got one voice actor, did we?
One.
I don't think did we? Who was it? I don't remember.
Yeah. Well, no, 2018 we didn't get any.
Okay, I think so. 2018
it was 2016 that we got one. 2016 we got one. 2017 I don't remember. And 2018 we got 0.
2014, if you go back to 2014, there were a big, huge lineup of guest voice actors.
That was awesome.
Tell the story, Michael.
Oh, the story. I remember once. See, you may or may not know that I'm a big cross country fan.
Yeah.
So I remember when I met Michael McConaughey, I asked him to do a rebel yell, and ringing across the convention center, he yelled, "Yeehaw!" and "Yo, Joe!" Then I remember security started running because it was loud.
Really?
Security thought something was going on, and I remember the people in line to meet him next. So I remember they kept on trying to ask him if they could get that as their ringtone.
Oh, really? It's funny you should mention that. I have a story for you. It was BotCon 2014. We were in Pasadena, California. And for people who know me at conventions, I usually carry this book bag with me outside of the con. And if everyone saw me, they knew that book bag was full of beer. I always carry beer around with me when I go to conventions. That's usually the only time I carry or drink is on conventions. So don't make it a habit, okay? You guys don't drink. No drink. No drink.
I'm never going to drink.
There you go. Good boy. And here's what the deal was that me and a couple buddies were standing on the sidewalk talking before our golden ticket reception. And a couple people walked by that we knew from the convention, and then there walks Michael McConaughey. And we said, "Hey, Mike, how's it going?" And he stopped and he came right over to us. We started talking, and he tells us he went down to this bar that was on, it had 21 taps of beer, but he couldn't get nobody to serve him a beer. And I'm like, "Well, hey, get you one out of the backpack." And I turn around, he gets a beer out of the backpack, and he sits there and talks to us. And the next thing you know, if you've ever watched G1 Transformers, his character was, one of his characters was Trax. So he started talking as Trax as we were talking about drinking the beer and Cybertron. It was a really cool little thing he did. And
Michael McKay's really nice to his fans.
he actually, very good guy. I actually run a convention here in Arkansas, and he was actually one of the first year I brought in guests. He was one of them, along with David Kay, the voice actor from Beast Wars. So I actually had both of them here at my convention. They were really good about it. Had a good time, interacted with the fans very well. I mean, a lot of voice actors are super nice, super cool to deal with, talk to. But then, of course, you'll have your few bad apples who are just really in for it for the money. But I can say, for myself, just about every voice actor I've ever met has been for the fans. So.
Seems like voice actors are more down to earth than regular actors.
Yes, I remember. It was BotCon 2011, Pasadena, California, which is where they like to go a lot of the times. They that was the year they had Michael Bay and a couple of the other movie actors from the movie there just for the movie preview night, whatever. They didn't show the whole movie, they showed a portion of it or whatever. Anyways, me and one of the guys I was rooming with, we had left and gone around the building, and we were heading back to the hotel, and the side door opened up as fast as it could, and the guy who came out was Tyrese Gibson and bumped into us, and it was like he was like, "Oh, my bad," and just kept on. Now, knowing we were fans, so we had Transformer shirts on and everything, you'd think, maybe interact for like a minute or so. But he just bumped. He was playing on his phone. "Hey, sorry about that." Kept on going, But I've heard he's a real jerk as well. So, but that's what it is. People who get a lot of money, they go to their head. That's just what it is. But, well, I want to end up ending this segment with y'all here in just a minute or two. But before we come off, let us know your perspective. What for as you being, both of y'all being young children, give us the insight on why Joe figures and not what's current in the toy market.
Well, I think I can sum it up really easy. If you are looking at two toys, you are given a fidget spinner or G.I. Joe action figure. I am not going to grab a fidget spinner or G.I. Joe. I'm going to go for the G.I. Joe action figure. I mean, they treat kids like they're like they can't understand anything anymore, and then they give them fidget spinners or maybe a video game where it's just constant bloodbath.
And that's true. The video games have gotten bad over the years.
I mean, now, video games are okay, I do like some, but I rather have a G.I. Joe action figure over the fidget spinners or when I was a kid, or other than a little piece of plastic.
Excuse me, may I elaborate on that?
Sure.
As David said about video games, I don't know, it's better to have something physical than something digital. It's just the feeling of it. Also, in video games, you're usually on predestined path. While with toys, it's all based on imagination. Imagination's literally the limit.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah. But I guess we're kind of strange kids nowadays, because some kids act strange when they see me reading a book. They say, "You read?"
It's amazing you mentioned that, how today's technology, 9 times out of 10, you have a kid playing on a electronic item versus playing outside or, hanging out with friends. I remember when I was a kid, I go to a friend's house and we play video games or play out in the yard. Nowadays, it's one of my kids. She plays on her telephone, stays in her room half the time.
Mhm.
And the other one works. So I mean, it's kind of like the days of that kind of stuff's kind of died out. But there are some people whose kids still act that way, which is a good thing. I see nothing wrong with that. I mean, you get more activity and more play in doing other stuff outside of electronic items, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But well, I'm going to head and end this segment. I want to keep on going with some other stuff, and I want to log out. I do want to. I appreciate Jeff. Thank you for letting your children come on and speak with us. I know we talked about this last year at JoeCon. It kind of got pushed around to the back, and I forgot about it honestly. But I'm glad we were able to get them on and get a child's perspective on it. And to both you young men, knowing that y'all know as much as y'all do, and it's good to know that a toy line that's this old is being played with children of the newer generation. So I hope y'all enjoy the toys y'all get, and when y'all get older, I hope you still have them to collect them and put them away and hold them for your children later in life.
Yeah. There's one thing I'd like to say.
Sure.
If there's any G.I. Joe collectors who are thinking about letting their kids play with their G.I. Joe figures, you should try doing this to get them interested. I mean, I'm not saying give them a $100 action figure. I mean, maybe give them just an O-ring figures and try to get them slowly interested and teach them about it and make them care about it.
Number two, I disagree with David personally. I think you should give the kids club stuff. If there's something that nice, you shouldn't withhold it from kids. Just use the bag system.
Yeah, sure. Just like Rick and his Xander. I think Xander's 6, maybe, and he's letting Xander play. Getting him vintage toys to play with and learn about and watch the TV show. So I know Xander is. Into the stuff like that. So, yeah, you're right. You're exactly right. So, well, guys, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. And maybe we can have you on again later on in the year. Just come on and, have a good time once you get some new toys and come in. We'll talk and see what y'all think of the club stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, we'd enjoy that.
Well, great. Again, I appreciate y'all coming on. If y'all want to log off, I want to sling into some other stuff, and then I'll be logging out myself.
Oh.
All right. Goodbye.
Thanks, guys. You have a good night.
Good night.
All right, everybody. I really appreciate both of them, young men, coming on here. For reasons that I want to do was we didn't want to list their last name and basically have the father's permission to interview them. That was something that we want to protect the young children of that because they're underage and they're minors. Chris, I'm looking at your question. He was not interested. I already asked him about the 6-inch line. He was not very interested in that whatsoever. He doesn't think that would work. I think it would work if they did a whole entire line of it outside of 3 3/4. Like if they gave us let's say 6 or 8 figures, that'd be cool. I don't think it's going to happen. But anyways, also for people who don't know, on our Facebook group page, the Collectors Club, The End, they have someone announced that they got their shipping notice for the final 12. He said he ordered just that, and that alone, he got a shipping notice. So hopefully he'll be getting his figures soon. Hopefully the final FSS will be shipping out as well. I'm not for sure if it will or won't because they have I haven't gotten a shipping notice, and usually I'm one of the first ones that get a shipping notice when that does happen. So that's all on that end of the club notices. No more new emails. No more new figures. People have been getting the stuff that they've been getting in that was not included with the certain figures that were being put on hold because of the mess up stands again. This was going to be a short show because we couldn't get no other co-hosts on tonight with us. But I do appreciate them coming on and talking about the their versions of GI Joe and everything, and hopefully we get them on later on again in the year. The next Angry Mike show will be sometime in February. Will it be like a monthly show? We'll be back in 2 weeks. Hopefully, we'll have Fred and some other guys on, ready to talk. We'll have some more product in hand, and we can talk about that as well. I appreciate everyone who's been watching, and I got 2 thumbs down again. Gosh, you guys are killing me. Don't know if they do it for fun or if they just don't like the show now. But yeah, I appreciate everyone who's been watching. We're going to cut it off here for the night, but I'll be back on in 2 weeks with hopefully Fred back with us and some other guys. So thank you for watching. Hope everyone who's watching or is watching or will watch in video form enjoys the show. And we will talk to you later. Thanks a lot.